Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Big East Rewind. I am Chuck Everson, your 7-foot host from Villanova University, and my partner and my point guard, my main man, Sonny Spira from Syracuse University. Noticed I said that the right way, Sonny.
I
I'm
did. I did.
getting
I have noticed it.
much
Your
better, by the way.
diction has improved. It's wonderful. And our good friend Len Berman is clapping in the background. He's
I'm
happy.
I'm hoping that I hear back from Len, and saying, "Hey, Chuck, you get most improved." That's all. You know,
There's two reporters that do Syracuse, right? There's um, excuse me. There's two people, and one of them is Donna DeToda, right? And the other one just escapes me for a second. It's a guy. He's a super nice guy, Mike Waters. Okay.
right,
So Donna put on there after an interview. It's not pronounced Sarah accused. It's Siracuse. And people were like, I've been saying it, Syracuse, ever since I left there. All
right.
kinds of people, right? And it was funny. And I wanted to say, can we get Len Berman on the line and just clear this up
Yeah. Len will straighten you right out like that, Sonny.
in a second? Even if he doesn't know you, he's got you.
He listen. I always hear his voice now. He lives
Yeah,
in
hey,
rent free,
that
man.
he lives rent free in your head, brother.
He does. And listen, I was a big Glenn Berman fan. I'm also
And me
a
too.
big
I love
fan
Len
of
Berman too.
these two guys that we're going to be talking to today. A big fan of both of them, and they are both my brethren, my fellow Wildcats. You take a walk inside the Wildcat den, Sonny. That's it. Get your
I
V's
did.
all the way up, my
It
friend.
did. I did. But
So,
two of the nicest guys you ever want to meet. I
oh,
mean,
the greatest. And you know what? Last year they had this. They started this thing last year at the Big East where they introduced the legends, and they brought Reggie Williams out to represent Georgetown. They brought Ernie D out to represent Providence,
yep.
and they brought Randy Foye out to represent Villanova. So he was last year's legend. He's old news. Now, this year, for the 40th anniversary of our 85 championship, they bring out the most valuable player of the Final Four that year, Easy Ed Pinckney, my man. He's the most he's the most appropriately nicknamed guy I've ever met in my life. Easy Ed. Never seen him get upset. I can count on a couple of fingers if I've ever seen him get mad or at all.
I
And
told you I
Eddie
got to
Eddie
play
hasn't
against that.
changed at all since
Got,
school. He's the same guy.
got to play against that Adley Stevenson, him and Freddie Brown. Freddie was fiery, but Ed was just smooth and
Ed is as
skinny
cool as
as
the
a
other side of the
rail,
pillow,
and he
Sonny.
was quick like a pogo stick. He was up and down.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I had to guard him every day. I know, and we tease him. Wyatt Maker and I tease him and said if it wasn't for Wyatt and I, you wouldn't be the Eddie Pinckney that played in the NBA for 13 years.
Should have thrown you a little like agent money, you know what I mean? Like
Well, he does what every superstar does. He takes the guys, the no-name guys, Wyatt and I. He takes us out for dinner occasionally. So he
Oh,
took
that's
care of me.
nice. When he rolls like that, that's nice.
Yeah, of course. Ed's great that way. He's a great guy, and as is Randy. Randy now is in charge of the collective at Villanova,
Right. They
Friends
both
of
have
Villanova.
important, I mean, they both have important jobs still. And Ed has a way of looking at the game and understanding things and intricacies and players now, right? Like he has his finger on the pulse of the NIL as does Randy, but also who's playing where and what's going to happen and who's going to translate their game to the
Yep.
NBA. I mean, it's really cool just to talk to him. It really is.
Yeah, well, Ed's now a scout for the Houston Rockets, and
But he's more than that, man. He knows what's going on.
oh yeah, 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 yep. He's constantly on the phone with everybody. It's really amazing how he handles it, and
I mean, who's a better
he's
ambassador for the game than Ed Pinckney? I mean, that's
yeah.
great for the Houston Rockets. That raises their bar.
Well, yeah, and it helps us at Villanova too. I mean, especially when he was there coaching. Those
Yep.
guys, Randy played for him, so he speaks about Eddie with great reverence.
Yeah,
And
that was interesting. That conversation that came up, right?
yeah, So it
about
was
coach and player. I remember this, and you got to do that. And that's
yeah,
there's
and
no more.
they had, and you know what? He walked in the door and had respect right away because
Yeah,
Jay Wright made sure that the younger guys knew who the older guys were. Whether you played 10 minutes, 5 minutes, or no minutes, they knew everybody.
yeah.
So
There's no
see
credibility
Eddie
issue.
walk in as the MVP, everybody was like, "Oh, that's Ed Pinckney. I better play."
Yeah, no credibility issue right there. He came in.
No.
He was bleeding blue himself.
Yeah, so this one was a good one. Eddie Pinckney and Randy Foye. We got them on the couch to talk to Sonny and I at Macy's Herald Square, and
Chuck,
hope
there
you
were
like it.
two Villanova legends. Two.
Two, that's right. Get him up, Sonny. Sonny is an honorary Wildcat, as many of you know. From 2016 when he went when
2016 and
Syracuse went to the
2018.
Final Four. Yeah, and we christened him with a Villanova golf shirt,
I'm
polo
2
shirt.
for 2. You guys have yet to lose when I'm in the
Well,
house.
I'm 3-0, Sonny, not for anything,
Huh?
85, 16, and 18. But I will say
Yeah.
this. You were sporting a Villanova shirt on the championship day. After your beloved Orangeman got knocked out,
Yeah.
you were rocking the Villanova blue with the V's up and everything. It was great to
Yeah.
see.
After Carolina beat us, man, I had to root for you guys. And of course, when Jenkins hit the shot, I was a little bit happy for you.
Yeah, that was good. That was very good. So, without any further ado, here they are. Easy Ed Pinckney and Randy Foye on the Big East Rewind. We're back here at Macy's Herald Square for the starter drop of the starter jackets and starter gear. We're having a good time. And now, Sonny, I got my guys here. Now
Double
you're in
trouble.
big trouble.
Triple trouble.
You're in the Wildcat den
I know.
right now, Sonny.
I'm in the den.
You're
the
in the
orange
den.
man's nervous.
So, yeah, that's right. And back-to-back Big East legends, both of them. Last year's legend and the current legend from Villanova. Let's start with the younger one, right?
Yep.
This guy was one of Jay Wright's first recruits when he came in on board and was responsible for – he's one of the all-time leading scorers, and he was responsible for building the culture that and continually to build the culture that was built starting from Coach Mass. So the great Randy Foye joins us. How are you, Randy?
I'm great. Thank you, guys. I appreciate being here. Awesome setup. We're celebrating Big East basketball tournament this year.
Yep.
And it's just fun, especially when you can celebrate, not just Villanova, but, every school in the Big East. It's really cool. And it's great to be here with the legend, Ed Pinckney.
Yep. Well, listen, without any further ado, he's my guy. We wouldn't have won in 85 without him. He was the MVP of the 85 team, and we're still just as close as ever, even when we played right up to this day. We talk a lot. My good buddy, Easy Ed Pinckney. How are you, Eddie?
Doing well.
Good to see you as always, my friend.
Good to be seen for sure.
Yep. Well, how was last night for you? That was a big deal. They brought you out and bring you out to half court and celebrated you as they should.
No, I mean, it's always fun to come back to the Mecca city. I grew up here.
Oh, I know.
So it's always a lot of fun to have a great experience in Madison Square Garden and get the win.
Villanova
got the win last night.
That was the big thing. We got the win.
That was the icing on the cake. But no, it was fantastic. I think, we talked about Val Ackerman and the job that she's done with the Big East and the conference and all the teams. I mean, it's a celebration of all the years past, and they've done a good job of kind of inviting guys like myself back and celebrating them and teams.
And this is the year to do it. It's the 45th anniversary of the league, of the conference. It's the 40th anniversary not only of our championship game, but of having three teams from the same conference, the Big East Conference, in the Final Four. Never been done before or since. So it's a big celebratory year for the Big East Conference.
Yeah, I mean, it could be challenged. Certainly, we talk about other conferences having many teams, but Big East has fantastic history. I was sitting at our Villanova Seton Hall game last night, and just to my left is Coach Calhoun, and he's just sitting there watching the action and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, you know what? I watch your teams play, and your players go on to the NBA, and he was just as humble as and can be. Loves basketball, but just those are the kind of people walking around Madison Square Garden
Right.
when the Big East tournament's happening.
So, Randy, Ed talks about the closeness, and did you find it in the same way in your era as we did? Because I would say to you like this: like North Carolina is not rooting for Duke, no matter who. If Duke was playing Villanova, North Carolina would root for Villanova. If Georgetown is playing, Duke, we would all root for Duke. Was it that type of brotherhood when you were playing as well, like it was when Ed and I were playing?
Yeah, to be completely honest with you, when Coach Wright was recruiting me, and I'm from Newark, New Jersey, so when Coach Wright was recruiting me, all he would talk about is 85 national championship team. And
Come on.
Yes.
Already. There's like 4 references already. We've been in 5 minutes.
And he would talk about Kerry Kittles. And that was the tradition that that our recruiting class looked at and said, this is what we want to be. And then my sophomore year, my guy to my left here became an assistant coach. So then it was all about being great. It was all about getting to the tournament. It was all about trying to win a national championship. And not only that, it was all about trying to get to the next level. But whenever anyone is playing someone within our conference of the Big East, we're always rooting against them. Like, we don't ACC, Big Ten, SEC. For us here, especially in the tri-state area, is all about the Big East.
So I got to ask you, when you get recruited, Jay Wright, young, kind of up-and-coming coach, what's the appeal for Coach and Villanova? I know Jersey, Philly, it's closer, but what is the attraction? What sold you on, I'm going to Villanova?
To be honest, it was the swag. And, when we did our official visit at my house in New Jersey, it was we ate KFC. We sat on we sat on the porch with my grandmother.
Oh, you went big time.
Yeah,
for it.
he went big time, and we ate KFC. And he sold me on something that was bigger than basketball. It was about getting a Villanova degree. It was about an education. It was about networking. It was about not only just playing basketball, but it was about making sure in your afterlife, because basketball is a short career, making sure you're prepared for the real world. That's what sold us as a family.
Ed, Rowley didn't come in with KFC, right?
It was pretty close, though, Ed. I know your story.
So there was no KFC because he was coming actually into the projects. And he drove up in this white Cadillac, and I was like, Coach, you sure you want to park that car around here? Because that thing might be on crates after you leave. And I had a couple of my boys watch out for him. But in regards to Randy and Jay Wright, because I've been in on those home visits with Jay Wright, he's not involved in college basketball right now, but in terms of a presentation for a recruiting visit, there might not be a better presenter. Because I work for Jay Wright, we would go into homes where we knew we weren't getting the recruit, and after he finished presenting to the family wanted to come to Villanova. The guy was unbelievable in terms of painting a clear picture for a student athlete to play high-level basketball, get a degree, and then be part of a whole tradition. I mean, the guy was incredible. We'd walk out of the house and he'd go, we're not getting that kid. I'm like, are you kidding me? The mother just told me, like, they changed their mind. They want to come. And a lot of times we would have to tell people, like, we have other people coming. We don't have a scholarship for you now. But that guy was ridiculous in terms of presenting the vision for Villanova. He was really good.
So go ahead, son.
So I want to go back to that point to you, Randy. So in his vision for you as a player, right, did all that come to fruition, or were there any hiccups along the road?
No, it definitely was hiccups, especially early on, because he was preaching this style of play where it was all about guards. It was about guards rebounding, scoring, assisting, defending the best players, just playing 38 minutes out of the 40 minutes, and just being pit bulls throughout the course of the game. I had a finesse style of play. I was from a really tough city growing up in Newark, New Jersey, but my style of play was more of, ball handling, shooting, really didn't want to be touched. And every time he felt like I backed down and I didn't want to be touched, he subbed me out. So along the course of the ride, where we felt like at that moment, Villanova already had great tradition, but we felt like it was slacking for 6 or 7 years. We felt like we brought it back under him, and we solidified exactly who he is today, and we created the foundation for what came in 09, 16, 18, 22 with the 2 championships and the 2 Final Four teams.
How did that help you then at the next level? When you got to the league, did you feel that his tutelage was much more preparation for this, or how did you feel moving forward to the next step?
Well, at that point, prepping myself for the NBA, it was a lot of this guy here because he was assistant coach. So he was prepping me when scouts and people would come in. So doing the workouts, that's what people don't understand. A lot of times doing the NBA workouts, it's you and it's 3 other guys who's supposed to be able to go in that slot. And I know what Coach Pinckney was drafted. I think he was drafted 9th, right? Yeah. He was drafted. So I wanted to be drafted higher than Ed Pinckney and Kerry Kittles. So I was chasing those 2 guys. So every single workout I walked into with me being Big East Player of the Year and first team All-American, I walked in every single workout and said, I want to prove to the team that's picking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the lottery teams, that I'm the best. And Jay Wright and our coaching staff prepped us for it. And, when I walked into those workouts, it was just like basically walking into one of our practices where, as you know, certain schools don't practice and work as hard as we do. So if those guys was a cut from a certain cloth and a culture, I ate them up, and I ended up going number 7 that year in 2006 in an NBA draft. Game over.
Game on.
So getting back to the Jay versus Rolly kind of thing, talk about what it was like. I mean, Ed and I can probably tell you a million stories about what it was like in practice with Coach Mass. Talk about what it was like in practice with Jay versus a game, and then Ed, you share Coach Mass in practice versus a game.
The PG rated version.
The PG rated version.
So,
because there's 2, they're
the PG 14, right?
So 94 by 50, which is the basketball court, right?
Yeah.
Jay Wright, completely different person. I hear some of the younger guys, they don't call him Jay, they call him Gerald during practice. The intensity level just was the nuances of everything is done the same way, no matter what. We stretch the same way. We wear our socks the same way. It was almost militant. But within the game, when you had to lean on something and we needed to stop and you had to look at your teammate and the crowd was so loud, you couldn't really tell your teammate what to do, but you prepped for it. But Jay Wright, from being on the court 94 by 50, was a absolute killer. Jay Wright off the court is a businessman. He's smart. He networks really well. But within, that 94 by 50, which is the basketball court, he's probably one of the toughest dudes. Even with me playing for 5 different coaches in the NBA, right, he's one of the toughest dudes that I ever played for.
Go ahead, Ed. I know.
So
and listen, I know he was an equal opportunity yeller, so I know you got your share.
No, so he's very modest, okay? Because the level of toughness that they were subjected to during practice prepared them, and Jay really talked about this all the time, being prepared for the most difficult situations.
Yeah.
I don't, maybe he remembers this. We had a game against Oklahoma. Oklahoma is ranked. We were not at the time. This is Randy's junior year. Randy, ridiculous athlete, has an open fast break against one of their forwards, and Randy's playing forward. So he jumps over the guy. His foot catches the player's shoulder, and he scores, and he falls on his head. And the entire bench gets up, and because we thought he was like unconscious. He gets up, and he's like runs back. And we're like, how in the hell? Like we couldn't, but that, that was that was something that was just you were prepared for during practice. I mean, Jay was, in terms of a defensive tactician, he was really good. The contrast between he and you know, a lot of the things he learned were from
Coach.
Rolly Massimino. Yeah. Massimino was what you call a coach's coach, and I've heard that from many of his peers that watched his teams play. He was a really great tactician and one of the guys you didn't want to play in the NCAA tournament. You always had to face multiple defenses when you played against his teams, and generally the majority of his teams were all really smart, high IQ basketball players. But this guy, Alan Ray, him,
Curtis,
Kyle Lowry, Curtis, these guys were ridiculous.
Jay Frey, yep.
Like the level of intensity in the practices were, once you got to a game, it was.
And listen, and people still talk about the Villanova toughness, you know, taking charges, diving on the loose balls, doing those types of things.
Kyle's still doing it.
Well, so is Jalen. Josh and Jalen are taking charges in the league.
If you ask those guys, they reference. I've had other players from other college teams reference his team.
Yeah.
And the Villanova guards, they play a certain way. That all started with his team, really.
Right. When Curtis went down, it changed, right? That's when the whole thing kind of morphed,
so we were three guards. So it was myself, Nardi, and Allen in the backcourt. Curtis Sumter was at the 4. Jason Frazier was at the 5. Our end of our junior year, we were playing Florida in the NCAA tournament, and Curtis was pushing David Lee, and his knee gave. And when Curtis went out, Coach Kyle Lowry was a freshman, and Coach said, "Kyle, go to the point guard. Nardi, go to the 2. Allen goes to the 3." And then I'm looking at him like, I'm only 6'4". Where do I go? And he's like, "You go to the 4." And I was like, I can't play that. I didn't say I couldn't play, but I'm looking at him like, play the 4. Right. And so he said, what I want you to do is you're going to guard David Lee, but you're going to front him. As you front him, they're going to try to get him the ball. Your teammates are going to be behind you, supporting you. And as I front David Lee, Kyle Lowry's there, Jay Frey's there, all of my teammates are there. We end up winning, right? The next game we played North Carolina at Syracuse in the Sweet 16. And
the Phantom travel.
With a Phantom travel with Allen Ray. We were cross-matched the entire game. So they were trying to run back and get their best defender on me, and they couldn't get their best defender on me. And their 4-man was guarding me. And before you know it, in the first half, I think I had like 19 points. And Coach Wright, at the end of the year, I had a chance end of my junior year to go into the NBA draft. And what he told me was, I think we got something here. I want to keep you at this position, but I also want you to get your Villanova degree. And I decided not to go into the NBA draft, and then my senior year was like a blur with everything that happened for me that has set me up financially and in my personal life to where I'm at today.
So essentially, right, his vision and desires for you comes true.
Yeah, his vision, sometimes you're like, is he trying to sell me on something? Like, is this real? And it is. He really does care. Sometimes he can be intense. Sometimes he could be really tough on his guys, but he leaves everything on the floor with the players. And, you know, he constantly texting you. He's constantly talking to you about being great in life. And that's something that you appreciate, because I know some places you can go to and they're not talking to you about being great in life. They only want you to be a basketball player. But I can guarantee you, under Coach Wright's leadership, he also wants you to be a really good student and receive your degree from a prestigious institution like Villanova.
So getting that degree, what do you think now that's done for you?
Well, now I am the president of our collective at Friends of Nova. I contract players. I work with our general counsel. I work with our corporate sponsors. We do a little bit of fundraising. I sit in with the coaches. So you name it, from a Villanova degree and a foundation from, my grandmother back in Newark, New Jersey, it has set me up to do some really cool things that, I couldn't imagine 5 or 10 years ago. Once I was done playing in the NBA, I wanted to play golf. I wanted to hang out with my family. But now being back at Nova doing what I'm doing, it puts me in a position, not only I wouldn't say power, but I'm always around our student athletes, and to be able to relay the message and, share as many gems as possible with them, that's something that I love to do.
So you could see it. I mean, it's
Oh, yeah.
what you've talked about with passing it down. I mean, it's in your DNA now, really. I mean, I'm not from Nova, but I get it. It's obvious. You talk the talk, but you walk the walk. It's so easy to say something but not do something, right? So how about yourself, Ed? I know you're still involved in coaching, right? Talk about that. Go ahead, Randy.
Can this guy right here, man, he's too humble, man. Big Easy Ed.
Well, that's how I feel
Yeah,
about you.
yeah.
I mean,
He's too humble, man. Just his presence. We were struggling our freshman and sophomore year, trying to figure it out. And his presence every day in practice, like, you're not just learning from him on the court, but you're walking around, all these facilities at Nova, and he's everywhere. And you want to be that. So just with his presence, he's super humble. Like, he's been in the NBA forever. He's still in the NBA to this day. At the highest level. He chews talent at the highest level. For the last, I would say, from the Miami Heat to us to the NBA. He coached me in the NBA. This dude coached me at Minnesota and in Denver. So I've been with Easy Ed. Yeah, he was with me with the Nuggets and Minnesota. So
we're like,
yeah,
that guy, this kid, because he mentored. Well, he and Alan Ray mentored Nikola Jokic, to a degree. Yeah, I mean, Randy was his teammate, and I was one of the assistant coaches. So we saw him his first year in the NBA. Obviously amazing player and stuff. But he was there right at the.
When you saw him, what did you see in him?
I'm like, man, he's on the court with him. I'm just watching. I'm like, he's got pretty good hands, because he wasn't at the time starting, and he was also not in the best of shape. But
Right.
He's obviously emerged to be best player in the world. But no, we saw the very beginning, the origins of his greatness, right at the beginning. But I mean, the thing that stood out about him was just his ability, his touch and his passing. He wasn't shooting the ball, because Randy was doing the most of the shooting, and Jameer Nelson. Those guys were doing the most shooting at the time. But no, I mean, his hands and eye-hand coordination was stuff that stood out.
So let's ask a quick question about current day, the state of the union at Villanova right now. Okay, we got tonight. We got UConn, the 9:30 game tonight. What are your thoughts on the UConn game?
We beat him before. We got to get a win tonight.
We got to get a win. Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to be
agree
in
with
Mark
that.
Polanski's box. We're going to be watching
Right.
this whole thing tonight, and hoping that Kyle and the fellas can, again upset Connecticut. It's a tough game. A lot of things have to go right, but we have the leading scorer in the country. This guy who poses a lot of problems for the majority of teams, and.
Who, by the way, passed both you guys on the scoring list. He's now up to number 2. He's got a chance to catch Kerry.
Many
Real
have
close.
tried to catch Kerry's kills.
Oh, I know.
But the chosen are few. That dude put up a lot of points.
Yeah.
But no, I mean he's had a great year and stuff, and they just the shots have to fall for us, and because we've had 2 really tough games. Against Connecticut. So.
We've had several tough games where we are in a position to win, and just for whatever reason we miss a shot or something happens where we don't get the W. It's just been one of those years where we're just right to the top and we just can't get over that hump. It's been tough.
That changes the night, man.
It changes the whole night.
9:15. That's all in the past.
That's exactly right.
Every shot is going to go in for Villanova tonight.
I would say, listen, there's a steady improvement. From the last 3 years that with Kyle at the helm, I mean, it's steady and it's got to be tough. And Randy, you could talk to this. I mean, you got the portal. We got 8 or 9 new guys this year, right?
Yeah,
and that's kind of the way it is now. So it's difficult to keep a culture the way Villanova had for a long time.
Yeah, you hear that a lot where people was like the culture. Student athletes are being compensated at the highest level. Is a Villanova degree enough nowadays? but I live it and breathe it every single day.
Yeah, I'm sure
And
you
just
do.
to talk, Eric Dixon, we laugh and joke about it, but I think I'm number 10 on the Villanova all-time league, and he passed me, and I knew he was going to pass me because I work with him every day.
Yeah.
Great kid, and he winked at me while I was sitting courtside, but I knew it was coming. But records are meant to be broken. I didn't have the record,
Yeah.
and I want our tradition, and I want our players to break those records, so they can go into the NBA and come back and support. But college basketball, seismic changes. When you think about this ecosystem of college basketball, it's changing every 2 weeks, from
Yeah.
litigation to this coaching carousel to power teams, that this SEC and this Big Ten, where teams are focused on football.
Yep.
The Big East is only focused on basketball.
That's right.
We have women's and men's basketball that always have played at a really, really high level, and that's what we're focused on. We're opting into this revenue share, and we're going to opt in. And Georgia put out something where 75% of their funds from the revenue share, which would be $20.5 million, will go directly to football, which would be $15 million. 15% will go to basketball, which will probably end up being between $2.5 million and $3 million. 5% to women's basketball, and then 5% to all other varsity sports. We're in. We don't need to get – Big East schools don't need to get to $20.5 million.
Yeah.
We're fine between $6 and $10 million, which sounds ridiculous for someone like me and Ed and all of us sitting here, but it's real. And players are being compensated at the highest level. And when you think about it, it's a lot that comes with it, because now, it's like semi-pros. And
right.
with it being semi-pros, you have to prep for the real world, real problems around financial literacy. And that's something that Villanova has done, I think, better than anyone in the country, that's preparing our student athletes for this bucket of money that they're going to be getting. Because a lot of them, and Coach E's right here tell you, 0.9% of them will make it to the next level. They don't know it yet, but we know it. So we're trying to prepare them as much as possible right now to take care of their money so they can set them up for the rest of their life.
I want to talk a little bit about the mindset, right, of the players you talk about today, right? So a guy like Eric Dixon, people may not know, he redshirted his freshman year. So here's a guy who's a leading scorer in the country now who didn't play his first year of school, right? How do you handle the mindset of a young, as we've all been there, athletic, right, confident young man who's now said, not as good as you think you are. You need to do these things. How do you handle that? And now put the money in that picture. How do you handle that whole ball of wax? You want to take that first?
Yeah.
Because I want to hear what Ed says to say.
I think it's just honesty and leading by example. I never want to put any of our student athletes in a threatening position, even if when our student athletes is out there, and I learned this from Ease, I know how good Easy Ed was sitting next to me, and he always would say, "You better than me. You better. I'm learning from you." And I have taken that from Big Ed, and I talk to Eric in a way where I want Eric to understand that it's a real world out here. Villanova is a bubble sometimes, but as an institution, as an athletic department, as a basketball department, we want our men's team to feel like they can conquer the world, but we want our alum to come back and be honest with them. Like, prepare for the real world, because this is a bubble here, and this is a great bubble. But when you go outside of it here, first couple years they might treat you as Eric Dixon and still remember you, but for the next 10 after that, they probably won't remember you. You probably could just walk the streets and no one will remember you. Be prepared for that. It's hard when you retire from the NBA. You're traveling, you're staying at the best places. And at Villanova, we travel, and the hotels we stay in, it might as well be the NBA. But at some point that stopped, and you have to prepare yourself for it. But our thing is just being honest with them.
Now, it's a good environment to be in if you're a young man and you're earning money. I mean, I think we all would have loved to have had the opportunity to also make money in college and also play college sports. But I look at it like, why wouldn't you want to be in this environment? You have all your best friends around you. You have the money. You have the ability to network
So you got
with
the best of
people
both
who are
worlds.
going to be
Yeah.
future CEOs. It's a really good environment to be involved in when you are earning money, there are all kinds of investment opportunities for these kids once they get the money. Now, some spend it wisely, some don't. And that's part of the education that they have to learn. But I couldn't think of a better time to have money is when you're that age and around teachers who can really help you.
Yeah.
Good point.
Well, we're here celebrating Starter and the Big East and the launch of the Starter jackets. Tell us your Starter jacket stories, each of you.
My Starter jacket story was just me seeing everyone with Starter jackets on and wanting to know how I can get one. I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm sorry, I'm in New York City, but I'm a Cowboys fan. And I wanted the jacket. It was dark blue, and it had a white stripe on the arm, and I always wanted that jacket. And they also had starter jackets where it was almost like a hoodie. It was like a windbreaker /
Yep.
waterproof hoodie. I always wanted that. So that's my Starter jacket story.
How about you, Ed?
No, everybody during my high school into college era wanted a Starter jacket, whether it was 49ers or Eagles or Giants. I mean, that's
But you know, I mean, listen, we've talked about this. We played against these guys in '85. The iconic Starter jacket back in the day was everybody wanted that Georgetown jacket.
Oh
right?
yeah.
That
I
was
couldn't
the
wear
culture,
one.
man.
I
couldn't wear one.
You and I couldn't wear it.
But
but everybody wanted
the
that jacket.
iconic blue with
Yeah.
the gray was, I mean, that gave you the kind of street cred that you wanted. I mean, you wanted to have that jacket on, and I mean, it's a great brand and has a lot of respect. So
I remember when they did that special on us, the Perfect Upset, right? And they interviewed DMC Darryl from Run DMC. He went to St. John's and he was walking around rocking that Georgetown jacket on campus and everything. And he said he didn't care. He wanted to have the Georgetown jacket.
well, I mean, the brand transcended sports. It became wearables for not only athletes,
Right.
but just for common people. I mean, it's comfortable, and they did a good job of really highlighting everyone, not only college athletes, but professional athletes as well. I mean,
Yep.
it's a good job. Everybody wanted a Starter jacket for sure.
Well, we've been talking with Randy Foye and Easy Ed Pinckney right here on the Big East Rewind live from Macy's Herald Square. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. I
All right,
really,
man.
truly
Thanks
appreciate you
to C.
coming
Banks for everything and
Yep,
for Starter
thanks
and
to C.
hosting.
Banks.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Right,
it.
thanks
for being
Bye, guys.
okay with a Syracuse guy. Appreciate it.
The Big East Rewind was produced and directed by Nick Chico Chorus and Daryl Gurney. Also on our camera, all our technical stuff that we did at Macy's Herald Square was produced by Billy Papamanuel. We thank Billy for all his hard work and what he did to help us with a different experience for Sonny and I. And of course, check us out on the SiriusXM app. Check us out on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts from. Thanks a lot for joining us, everybody. Have a great night.
Click like, subscribe, share it with your friends. Have a good one, folks. Appreciate you all.